Everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Book Weekly. And before you leave and dip out of here already, don't worry, Kat's going to be here, guys. We know the show is not the same without her, so don't bail on us already. We have another wonderful episode for you today, guys. I have Brant right next to me right now, so say hello, Brant.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yeah, guys. So we're going to talk about a lot of that X-Men stuff that's going to be, X-Men talk, and we're going to talk about all kinds of other news that came out this week as well. We'll talk about our top five, and it's going to be a fun show. Kat was working, so that's why she's running a little bit late, and Brant had camera issues, so that's why he was running a little bit late. And actually, for once, I was the one that was on time, sitting here twiddling my thumbs, not doing anything. But let's see who we have on the show so far, because we are breaking the internet right now. We have all of 8 people on here, and I'm probably one of them watching my own screen. So I have Tevia's on there. He says hello. And then we have the Black Knight, who says hi as well. We have David Berg, who says hi. Frontline, which we don't get called that much anymore, And so hopefully you guys will enjoy the show tonight. Was it Jace Traber? He says, "Good evening, gents." Yep. Mike Manhattan. Brant had camera issues. No, didn't recognize it, right?
Yeah, it just wasn't showing up, and I don't want to use the onboard one because I'd be very grainy and going in and out a lot. So that's what that one does.
I have it's pretty elaborate setup for me whenever I have to set up, because I use my wife's computer for the live streams because my Chromebook sucks and it freezes up for some reason when you do these live streams on there. So I always, every Tuesday, I have to bring in this big ass computer. She's a 17-inch laptop, and I have to hook it all up, connect the webcam and everything else. And I got to reconnect the mic and all that. And it's insane. It's just this big deal. So pain in the butt, but at least it works compared to what it used to.
I usually leave my camera unplugged, but I have this little adapter that has all my stuff into it. So the mic and the camera are plugged into this thing. So I just usually just plug it in. I'm ready to go. And today I was like, nope, not going to recognize it today. So
and then the setup too is I have my wife's laptop so I can do the live stream. I have my phone right here so I can see everyone's comments, not just the ones here also. And then I have the document to my Chromebook on the left of me. So I got 3 separate screens going here.
I feel you, man. I've got all my docs. I've got I don't even use a monitor anymore. I use let's see if I can show it. I have a TV as my second monitor. So I'm using a TV, and that's where I got my doc for all our our rankings and all that good stuff. And
it's hey guys, I got a 55-inch screen TV so I can read the doc for the show.
Exactly, yeah. Nobody's getting younger around here. We gotta have the big print now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Oh shoot.
Oh man. So we got a couple other people on there. Mars Comics is on there. Gore Vidal is on as well. Yeah. Mike Manhattan asks, have you guys seen the Super Crooks? Mike could always pull out an old comic for a sniff while we wait. It's a new Netflix anime based on Mark Millar's comic book, the Super Crooks one.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I think he's asked us about it the past couple of weeks, but I haven't even heard of it. Yeah,
I think I saw the Netflix, I think I saw not a trailer of it, but an advertisement on Netflix. I saw. Yeah.
I must have missed that one. Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
W says, have you guys seen Across the Spider-Verse? We saw the trailer.
We will be talking about it.
Yeah, when Kat comes on. And David goes, I have some of the Super Crooks single issues. Never read them. Have I read Super Crooks? When did it come out?
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of this one. This one totally slipped under my radar, I guess.
Do you know what one of my favorite Mark Miller or Milar, whatever you want to call him, books is besides Kick-Ass? Is
What's that?
actually Nemesis. I don't know if you ever read that. Do you remember that?
Is that one? Did he put that out through Marvel's imprint, the Icon imprint, or something?
You know what? I don't remember. I mean, I think it
Or-
was around the same time as Kick-Ass, so it might be very possible that it
Yeah.
was.
I think I may have. Let me see. Let me look it up, see if it looks familiar to me. Mark Millar. Nemesis. Yeah, Icon. It was one of the ones through Icon.
Okay.
I think I did read at least some of this. Yeah.
That was a really good book. If I could go back and reread it or find it, I would, because I enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I do remember reading this, and we might have even talked about it on one of our various shows during that time. I don't know. I don't remember, when did it come out? 2010. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was before we were doing this, but yeah.
Yeah. Man,
So,
that's a long time ago. Holy cow. It's
yeah.
11 years ago, and I remember reading that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do anybody in the comments out there, I'm going to send this out there for you. What is your favorite Mark Millar comic book? There is a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
So just name it. And it could be the ones that he did for Marvel too. Like
Yeah.
he did what, Old Man Logan too, right? So I think
Yeah.
he did that one.
And he did another one through Icon too. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I don't remember what it was called, but I think I like that one too. Man, he's done so many comics, I don't even remember what they are now.
Right, he's done a lot.
Yeah. Somebody help me out. Yeah. Go ahead.
Mike, Battle Chasers is getting a TV show adaptation. Have you read the Battle Chasers comic? No, that I have not read. Kick-Ass was pretty good. Yeah, I want to say when I read the original Kick-Ass, I just got back into comic books when that came out. And I remember that shit blowing my mind. I was like, wow. And I know Bermuda Jr. did the artwork for it, but his artwork is okay for that type of series, you know? And I remember I was like, man, this Kick-Ass book is so good. So I love that very first series. And then he did the original Hit Girl one too, I think. Hey, there she is.
Yeah.
Hey, going guys, so I'm running a little late.
Yeah. Mike Manhattan brought up Huck. That was another one that I think we all really liked. So.
Oh, Huck. Yeah,
Huck was
that
good.
was pretty good. Yeah. We were having a Mark Millar conversation here.
I'm excited to hear what you guys thought of the new books. I didn't read it because I was like, man, he never sticks the landing on any of his endings. So
yeah, we didn't talk about the new book. We were just having a conversation.
Somebody brought up Super Crooks, and we're asking if we'd seen it. Yeah. So.
Did we do any of the news yet, or are we
not
just
yet.
jumping?
No, we're just farting around talking about technology on how old we're getting. Well, Brent has to have an 85-inch TV to read his font document now.
Shoot.
I
was telling my second monitor is actually a TV now. It's like it's not quite that big, but yeah, it's.
I mean, it's big enough. I just have the one laptop, so
yeah.
We have a whole command centers.
Yeah, right. Like 3 screens here, and then the phone. Yeah.
All to run this show. That's all it is.
That's all. Yeah.
Not for anything else. It's just for this show.
Exactly.
We do have a question from Lee Smith. Are you ready for Spider-Man No Way Home? Yeah, I got my ticket.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
I actually got tickets. A friend of mine texted us yesterday and be like, Mike, you and Braden, my son, want to go and see Spider-Man. And I think it's the Friday it comes out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a late showing. I think it's like 10:30 or something like that. But I was like, I'll go if it's Spider-Man. I'm like, I'll sacrifice to go, for sure. If it means seeing it on the opening weekend.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing it the Thursday at also super late, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock because it's going to be like a 3-hour movie too. So you're not getting out of there till 1 in the morning.
Exactly.
But I am very excited for it. If Firepower became a show, who would your lead roles be? I'm never good with that. And Well, you know what? Maybe the Stephen Yeun from Walking Dead. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he could play it. I don't know anybody else, like, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's only because of, like, the Robert Kirkman connection. I'm like, oh, okay, that could be cool.
I also don't know if he knows martial arts or not, and obviously,
who knows?
Whoever played that would need to know martial arts. But,
He'll have to learn some martial arts for the role, but that'd be kind of cool. But let's get into some of this news. We have a lot of media news, but we're actually going to start with the media news first, and then we'll go into comic news because our big topics talk about the X-Men. But first up, we have Charlie Cox is going to be returning as Daredevil in the MCU at some point, which we already know. And I think we already know it's going to be in Spider-Man. So, like, was that really much news? I don't know, but people are talking about it.
It doesn't matter, though, because it just confirms that it's definitely happening. Yeah. And I think it just makes people happy that they went out of their way to recognize that he was such a good Daredevil and to bring him in here. It's a good thing, man. It's just they care. So I'm happy.
Yeah, that's it. It's the confirmation. I think that we all were just like really excited for, right? So it's, whether we knew it was coming or not, it's cool to have it officially confirmed. And I can't wait to see them kind of tie those corners of the MCU together in that way. So hopefully it opens the doors for other characters to reprise their roles as well.
Jessica Jones, I know, was a big one people wanted. I think Iron Fist was a big one people didn't want,
I like Iron Fist. I still... It's a good show.
So we also have some more MCU news here, which is Shang-Chi 2, which I think we all knew was going to get a sequel. It's in the works, and luckily, I believe it's the same director and writer, which is cool. Nice. I really like that movie. I feel like it's been a while since we had one solo superhero movie not connected to everything else right away, and it was just fun to get a different voice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Yeah,
I haven't seen it. Yeah,
you can watch it on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things again where Lisa and I watch together, and we just have so limited time to watch stuff. So it's in the queue. We just haven't got to it yet. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. I mean, was it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but it was a fun movie. I loved the kung fu action in it. I thought it was a great movie, and I'm looking forward to a sequel. I mean, it definitely leaves it open for a sequel and what could happen with the 10 rings and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very awesome.
For sure. Now the big news from this week, which I didn't even know a trailer was supposed to drop. I don't think anyone did, but Spider-Man Across the Universe, I think they're calling it. First of all, it's gonna be 2 parts. Or what is it? What is it called? I thought it was Across the Universe. Let's see.
Across the Spider-Verse?
Spider-Verse. There you go. Yeah. This is going to be a 2-part movie, and that's kind of cool. But the trailer, man, I love just seeing Gwen's world, and then you get a little bit of Miguel. It just gave you enough, right? Like, it didn't show you that much, but you're like, okay, I'm excited for this movie. Into Spider-Verse is my favorite movie of all time. Love that movie. Could watch it over and over again. And I don't say that about a lot of movies, so I'm so excited for part 1 of our sequel here.
Yeah, and it's also cool. We're going to get Spider-Man 2099 in it. It looks like, and it was a very small teaser. Just Gwen showing up in his bedroom and like trying to get him to go out, and then we see the little animated sequence going through the web and all that stuff. But it was really cool. It got me excited. It sucks we got to wait almost a year to get it, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, the animation was absolutely spectacular in that. It was so good. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. That first movie was awesome. I have a feeling this one's going to be even better. So we got a couple questions on here. Tevia asked about George Perez. So I think obviously it was what he got cancer. Is that what it was?
Yeah, pancreatic cancer.
Cancer. Yeah, that's really super sad. Yeah.
I mean, it's a sad thing. He's just staple in the industry. Let's just hope that he can fight it and good things, nothing but positive things, right?
That's definitely positive thoughts to him and his family and loved ones and all that.
Next one was, so do you guys know if that was supposed to be the X-Men Soul Suckers at the end of Shang-Chi?
I mean, not that I know of, just because I feel like a big X-Men drop would have happened in
They would have
maybe,
said something.
I guess they would have. Yeah, I feel like they would have said something already, or like maybe other people would have been like, "Oh my god, did you see that X-Men teaser?" I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about it if it did happen.
Right. David said, "Sad it's a part one. I'm all in for more Miles movies, but 2 parts seems like a drag."
But
Oh,
there's so
maybe
many
they just did,
universes.
but maybe they just didn't want to like rush it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And I think that here's the instance. I'll make the instance like Eternals. Eternals is a movie that I saw in the movie theater, and it was just too long or too much. Right? How much better maybe Eternals could have been if it was a Netflix series, right?
Mm.
So,
But then you could
and
say the
then
same thing about like Inhumans, let's say, right? And that didn't do well
yeah,
as a TV show either. But it's
yeah,
like,
that's true.
yeah, there you go.
That's true. I mean, but the way they did it in the movie theater for an Internals, it was just like, oh, let's learn about that character and let's learn about this character. And it just seemed like it was more of a TV format than an actual movie. And then 3 hours later, you're almost still introducing characters by the time you want to get to the end of the movie, you know? So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to Into the Spider-Verse, I think it's fine because like you don't want to fit all that stuff in one movie and then it feels like it's rushed. Maybe it's a little bit decompressed and then it gives you something to look forward to that you're going to get at least a trilogy out of it, right?
Yeah, and Tevye he asked if Spider-Girl would be in this, and not saying anything about Spider-Girl, but like you were kind of saying, Mike, if Spider-Man 2099 is kind of the focus of this one, doing it in 2 parts could allow you to open it up and focus on other characters to pop in there so that you're not crowding the screen with all those new characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure. Explore all the different universes.
Yeah.
So moving on, so that was all the media news pieces. We're going to get into some comic news pieces. First up, the Deadpool co-creator is returning for a digital exclusive comic with the Juggernaut and Deadpool. The only reason I want to discuss it, I'm not going to buy the book, but I find it interesting that Marvel is really trying to get people to read these digital books. Like, there's obviously a fan base for Deadpool, and there's a fan base for that creator, and I do think people would just go to that app to buy that book. And I think that's a smart way to, promote their line there. So I think in some regards, they're definitely doing some smart stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting to push towards all the digital content. I don't quite understand the strategy, but I mean, they are good books from what I've read so far,
Especially because they're pushing the physical readers to read digitally. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what the motive is. Like, I understand the motive of digital people trying to get physical books because you want to get more people like in the industry, but I don't get the other way around as much. But
exactly, yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I don't know. Maybe they've got bigger plans that they haven't, let the public be privy to yet. Who knows?
Exactly. Which creator? It's Fabian, not Rob Liefeld. It's Fabian who's going to be doing that one. Okay. So next up is Marvel is getting a new Magic character. Their name is, I think there's a name here. It's going to be in the Bloodstone family book. So, or that issue that comes out. So cool, I guess.
Yeah, it's a new relative of the Bloodstone. So it's related to Elsa, I suppose. Right.
So maybe this new character will be the new Elsa Bloodstone, and then Elsa Bloodstone will be the new Sorcerer Supreme.
That's a possibility, yeah.
That could be interesting. Why build up the family if it's not going to be necessary?
Exactly.
And that's in that Death of Doctor Strange. It's in that one shot, right? Is that when it's coming out? Yeah. So I guess it's cool. I mean, she's not the biggest and hugest character in the world, but hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Building up those legacy characters a little bit more. So nothing wrong with that.
They're trying to build those legacy characters up. All right. Well, moving on to the next thing. We were talking about Spider-Man 2099 before. They're actually going to be celebrating his 30th anniversary, putting more content out with him, which we had a Spider-Man 2099 story, not that long ago. I think it was with the main Spider-Man book that we had that with. And I think we had like a one shot here or there. I'm not a fan of Miguel O'Hara, so I will be skipping it, but cool that for the people getting more content and obviously tying it into the movie releases more than I think than the anniversary.
It's hard because like he's one of those characters where the original was solid, but everything they've tried to do with him since has kind of fallen flat. And I like the character. I like the story behind the character, but I don't know. They just haven't hit the right note with him yet, I think.
Didn't Peter David write that ongoing series? Yeah, so that was pretty good in the beginning, and then I felt like it dropped off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's been in a bunch of like Spider-Man things, and those stories just didn't hit. I just think that at the right. I think if you bring back Miguel and you want to bring him back as an ongoing series, you got to find a writer for him that can write him the right way and make people care about that character. You know, I think he's pretty cool. Just, you know, give him something to, you know, get people excited about, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, just stay away from that whole, I've got to fix my future thing, you know, just do something completely different with him and maybe it'll be good.
Just maybe have him have a book in his own universe.
That too, yeah.
I mean, maybe some people would like that. I'm sure, honestly, like most people would like that. All right, let's get into our main topic. I have to actually pull up two screens because one we're going to look at like the image and then we'll look at the titles that they've announced. Actually, I think it's on the image as well, so we could just look at the actual image. So we're going to talk about those new X-Men books, which is our main topic for tonight. So I'm going to screen share, and we have our image here, and nothing much besides, you know, just characters standing there. I don't think there's too much information besides maybe Deadpool holding a sign that says "Help me." But yeah, we have a couple of new titles here, which is the big thing. We still have Marauders, we still have X-Force, we have the X-Men title, we have Wolverine, New Mutants, and the new things are going to be Immortal X-Men, Knights of X, Legion of X, and X-Men Red again. Yeah. I gotta say, you know, we're gonna dig deeper into this, but I'm just so X-Men out. I just don't care about any of these titles. I'm so done with the Krakoa stuff, and I think I'm just gonna stick with Marauders unless like I really love a character in Immortal X-Men. I don't know. I'm just kind of done with these series.
I don't know. I love the X-Men, but I haven't been like in love with a lot of the stuff recently. Like we keep talking about over and over again. It's just the pile dwindles and it just, I don't know. Do we know like all the creative teams of these yet? I know
we only know that Steve Orlando's doing something with it. That's all we know.
Yeah. Like it's like his first thing is in some kind of annual coming up soon. I think
he's doing Marauders, definitely. He's
Marauders,
taking over that series, but I guess he's doing something more with Destiny's X too. But that's literally all we know.
Yeah, and I think I saw Lionel Francis Yu is one of the artists involved.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
He did the art for this. He did the art for the promo.
Yeah,
I mean, so when you got X-Men Red, obviously it's not going to be the same thing. I know when I read this article, they're maybe referencing where it's has to do on Mars because X-Men Red, Krakoa is on, or, you know, the planet,
the red planet. Yeah,
New Mutants, nothing different. Wolverine, really nothing different. Legion of X, was that have to probably do with Legion?
No, it's springing out of Nightcrawler's new religion thing. I think a new team or something. Okay. Yeah.
So then you got the current X-Men, right? Mm-hmm. Knights of X. So what do you think?
Which probably has to do with Excalibur.
Excalibur.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Immortal X-Men.
That I don't know. Everyone's immortal, so
right. And
that's the one I'm most interested in because of Hulk. Like I'm like, oh, that's an interesting title. That's one that could be cool.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got Marauders, which is obviously new creative team, right?
Yeah.
And then this is obviously the whole Destiny of X thing. So, Kat, do you have those images of the like the ones I sent you earlier? Like
I think it's this. Do you mean like the?
Yeah.
I think it's in this article. Let's see.
Teasers.
Here we go. This one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you got Magneto here. Can I expand this? Yeah, I can. All right.
So they give you a bunch of teasers on this whole choose your destiny. How funny would this be if like the X-Men books became like this choose your own adventure book, right? It's like,
oh God,
do you have, good guy Magneto? Do you have bad guy Magneto? Or do you have this version of Magneto? Pick which one you want, off the stands. That would be kind of funny, though.
that would be really fun. I would read that. That's like, oh, that's something different. But this is just like, okay, we've seen Magneto as a villain and a hero, so
I mean, you look at these 3 issues, these 3 images here. What does that first one look like?
He's at the table. It looks like he's at the, where they all hang out.
Yeah, that's like Krakoa in the background. Yeah.
The second one, he's evil.
In New York, it seems like.
Yeah, it's like classic Magneto right there. Yeah.
And then the third one, it's like he quits.
Yeah, or it's like he's in the black outfit. So
he wasn't even part of the X-Men for that long. What is he quitting?
They're like, we're kicking you out. You have to leave. And he's like, man, and he's crying and walking away.
Yeah.
Choose your destiny. Well, let's move on to the next one. Another choose your destiny. So we have old school Sinister.
Yep. And then you got King Sinister.
And now he's getting a Nobel Prize. So it seems like he's just, he's got a good gig.
I was like, he looks like almost a game show host. It's like, what's he
doing
there, right?
I also don't love the art. It's so hard to see his face.
He's in front of a crowd, it looks like.
Yeah.
The third one.
Well, he's definitely getting like a Nobel Prize of some sort. So it seems like people like him. He's like maybe becoming a hero again.
What out of those 3, just off of that image, what would most interest you?
Oh God. Probably the last one, because at least it looks a little grounded.
Yeah.
I want the first one. I want the original Sinister back.
I definitely don't care about that middle one.
No, I mean, yeah, he's become such a joke these days. It's like you're not scared of him. He's not sinister. He's just, I don't know what he is now.
He's just kind of there. He was in what book was he recently in? He was in, was it Excalibur?
Hellions.
Okay.
Yeah. Hellions, yeah.
W says Sinister is a jerk.
Well,
he is a jerk of a character. This is the only thing I care about right here.
Is this Hope?
I knew you would like the Hope one.
That's all I care about. I mean, I like so first we have her, wearing Professor Xavier's thing. That's cool. We got a Cable future in the middle. I don't really know what's going on in the end. Oh, she's, I guess, part of the council.
The Quiet Council, yeah.
Yeah.
First or third, I would be interesting because I mean, clearly with I think I'm the only one that's still reading Trial of Magneto, which it came out this week.
I think so.
It was kind of revealed that the 5 just kind of like defied all the rules and brought back Scarlet Witch, and it seems like she's taking leadership into her own hands. So I'm very interested to see what they do with Hope going forward, no matter which one of these it is.
I'm always interested in Hope. I'd give that book a try.
Looks like we got a super chat.
Oh, nice. I'm not on that page, so if someone wants to pull that up.
Yeah. So it's a new type. JB Lee says, this X-Men fatigue makes me weirdly miss the Inhuman push. Sure, the Mpox arc was dumb, but there were some gems like Ahmed's Black Bolt, Soul's Inhuman, Ewing's Royals, and Moongirl and Kamala. Yeah,
Kamala was the big one for me.
Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that particular run. I think I liked Royals. I think that was okay.
Royals was.
I know
okay,
you like Moongirl.
Yeah, I really like Moongirl, and she kind of became somewhat of a staple since then. She ended up in like Web of Spider-Man and stuff like that.
She has a cartoon coming out. She's a Disney cartoon.
Yeah, she's a fun character. I like her a lot.
It's really bad though how far away they've moved away from the humans since the whole bust. Right. They're like, we don't even speak of Inhumans anymore.
Well, it's like we got our.
Doesn't even speak of it. We never talk about her being Inhuman.
It's like we got our mutants back, so we don't need to push the Inhumans anymore.
I mean, that's exactly why they did it. I think it was right after like the X-Men versus Avengers. Maybe I feel like it was around that time.
Yeah, it was as soon as Fox had the rights to all the X-Men stuff, and they were like, well, we gotta push something different, and that's what we got.
So let's move on to the next image here, which is Storm. The art looks really good for that.
Art looks good, but I can't make out anything of what's going on.
Right.
Just that she has a new costume. and water.
Her hair, maybe. I don't even know.
Different hair.
It's hard to tell what's going on. There's all close-ups.
Maybe also these are different realities with what's going on with these characters, right?
Which could be interesting. Destiny of X, I guess. Yeah, well, maybe that's the whole premise of it. We don't know. You believe you have to wait until spring, though. That's a very long time of filler comics.
I think though that when it comes to March solicitations, I think we're going to get more answers to this.
Oh yeah, for sure. They go week or two. They're definitely teasing it for a reason. All right, next up is Wolverine, which it looks like he has a techno outfit. The other ones, honestly, both are very classic looks for Wolverine.
Yeah.
Besides the last one.
The techno one is different, but it doesn't feel like Wolverine at all. That's very odd.
I'm like, no thanks. I like the art. The art looks really strong.
What's the character's name from New Mutants?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't know his name, but I see his face.
Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. Like, does he get that power?
That'd be at least interesting. Instead of doing like a Spider-Man version of Wolverine where like now he has technology on him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
You got that classic brown and yellow costume.
What is his name? Yeah.
Is this Cypher? I don't know.
Well, Cypher is Doug Ramsey, but it's the other. Dang it! I don't know why.
I can't remember. I can't remember either.
That's crazy.
You'll let us know in the comments.
Morlock.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
All right. Well,
in that middle image, then you got Patch. So basically, that's Wolverine he goes by there. So
Madripoor. Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty seen cool, those before. But again, I like the art. The art looks really strong for that. Hopefully, these are all different series that they're teasing, not just like, this is. Well, we know this is gonna be a Wolverine, but like, the Sinister is not. Like Hope and Sinister. Hopefully, they're not in the same book. They're just like promoting different books. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is our girl Destiny, which literally there's not much to say because only the background has changed.
Right.
So it looks like
it's the same.
What do you think? She's on Krakoa there in the first one.
New York. It seems like New York burning down is a thing. Like that's something we're going to see a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that is where the treehouse is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's where X-Men's taking place right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's over there. So it makes sense if that's where the X-Men book is taking place and doing stuff.
And then in the back, got the Future. Third one, Future with Nimrod there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So he's going.
Those are all the teasers. Anything that excites you guys?
Well, I mean, my thing is after I read the second issue of Inferno, like I really enjoyed the second issue more than the first one. And if it leads into something, like obviously to this, it's going to lead into this, but if X-Men has a solid direction, I think X-Men can be a solid series again. You had potential with Hickman, and then all of a sudden they were just like, well, let's make all these books and tell just a convoluted story or disjointed stories or drag it out as long as we possibly can. And I think if you just stick with the story, then it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Here, Daniel Rose makes an interesting point about how Destiny looks the same through all those. What that tells me is that Destiny is only concerned about Destiny's well-being, right? She's going to survive and be fine no matter what happens. And that's kind of the whole point behind this thing, I think. So,
yeah. I mean, I might try out these X-Men titles.
Yeah.
And see where they're at this point, just like I did in the beginning of Hickman's run. And then if it does not work out, then I'll just drop them like I did before.
I will say,
I'm going to see the roster for all of them and who's going to be on it and figure it out from there. What are you going to say, Brent?
Yeah, I'll just say if New Mutants is like the same kind of creative team, I will not even give it a shot.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. It's frustrating though. And then, like we said, Marauders is getting their new creative team coming out. What is it? Issue? Was it an annual?
I keep thinking it's like this week, it's this week, and it never is. But it is definitely like a special of some sort, an annual.
Yeah, it's an annual. I think is what I read was the first. Yeah, his first installment of it. So
yeah, I'm
I
excited
don't know when
for
that
New
comes
Boys.
out. Yeah, me
Again,
too.
I keep thinking I thought Marauders coming out this week was him. I'm like, oh, cool, and then it wasn't. So I'm like, oh, all right, I guess we have to wait a little.
He Who Remains joins the show. What's up, bud?
Yeah,
thank you for watching.
All right, well, that's all the news for this week. We definitely broke down those X-Men titles for you, but we have some comics to talk about because we don't have any Kickstarters running right now. So
no Kickstarters, but
what about January? You'll have some, but
I'll push my little partnerships that I have with Mutant Beaver Comics and League of Comics.
I know what you were saying after. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, January is when Marauder comes out.
Yeah. But okay, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, that's okay. For Mutant Beaver Comics and Glass Cabinet Hobbies, Mutant Beaver Comics has some awesome exclusive comic book covers. If you guys want to go ahead and check them out over there, they got a cool Spider-Gwen Shannon Mayer variant. It's very limited. If you guys want to check that one out, go over there. You can save 10% on your order. Just enter the promo code Corner10 and you'll save 10% off of your purchase. Now, when it comes to Glass Cabinet Hobbies, there's no promo code for that one, but they do have an awesome Dan Mora exclusive Batgirls issue 1. So if you guys want that comic book cover and you love Dan Mora's artwork, go on to there as well, and you'll be able to order it. And those are 2 great sites, guys. So thank you so much. Yeah. So with that being said, now we'll jump into the comic.
Let me just show that real quick. Sorry, Mike. That's the annual cover. But
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in a new direction.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off there, Mike.
No, that's all right. But going into the comics, just wanted to give the spoiler warning real quick.
Yeah.
Give that spoiler warning.
I'm stepping over everybody tonight. I apologize.
This Marauders thing right here, right now.
Yeah, I covered Kat's comment with a banner. I'm just like, yeah.
We need the banner's more. The banner is important, so don't worry.
Yeah,
I mean, that comment was up for a while. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right, so let me go. I'm not even ready anyway. I got the big books list here that I've got to pull up on my.
We need that spoiler alert too. There you go.
Yeah, there's that. There we go. There you go, Brad. All right, so let's talk about the first annual out of many this particular comic book week, or this past comic book week now, in Batman Fear State Omega issue 1. This wraps up officially now Fear State, and I don't know. I thought this was a waste of time. I really didn't need this book. Like, I don't care if Scarecrow went to where did he even go? Did he go to Arkham? Where did he go?
I think it's they're teasing that new. Yeah, they're teasing that new.
Yeah, the new Arkham
Island place.
Chase Meridian.
Yeah, and there was just, I don't know. It was just like, and it kind of gave you a thing like where all the characters are going to end up. So you're not going to see Scarecrow for a while. Miracle Molly's going in jail. She's going in Blackgate, so she's not going to be around. The Gardener is not going to be around. She's done with superhero stuff, so she's gone. Who else? Ghostmaker's taking Clown Hunter and is going to train him. So you're not going to see those guys for a long time. So like everybody that Tynion has created is just disappearing. The only person that you know that is not disappearing is Punchline.
And that's so disappointing for sure. Fear State Omega wasn't my thing. I think it's just mostly because I didn't care about the arc itself. So the ending was just fell flat, and you could tell everything was really rushed. So definitely didn't love that.
Yeah, and the whole takeaway was Batman's not afraid anymore, and he's open to change. That was like the whole message through the thing. But I think the one part I did like was just a very small part, almost seeing like the reuniting of the Gotham City Sirens together.
Yeah,
all
that
three
was
of them
cute.
together.
It was
Yeah,
a very small moment, but that was
it
probably
was
the best
very
scene
small.
of
Yeah,
the best scene of the whole entire thing. Which I totally forgot to
exactly.
share panels, so I will get you guys panels in
There
the
you go.
comments in a few seconds.
Yeah, but that was it. Yeah, other than that, I completely agree with you both.
Gotcha. All right. So there's that one, and that's the end of that, and we'll see what happens with Batman going forward. All right. So next we're going to talk about King of Spies. This is issue 1. This is Mark Millar, what we were talking about earlier. So this is his newest book, and after reading this one, I actually enjoyed it. I loved learning about this old guy who was like, what is he, like 65, I think he was.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the greatest spies. What the heck is going on with this person putting all this stuff?
Yeah, we're gonna block him.
Yeah, I already did, though. That was the...
Oh, I hadn't seen it. Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. That's not cool.
Yeah, man. Come on. It's ridiculous. Anyway, going back to that Mark Millar book, that was actually a good book. I enjoyed it. The guy was like 65 years old. You got to see kind of like his past history, and kind of kicks ass, takes names. And then you wind up learning that he develops like, what was it, like brain cancer or something like that. And he wants to kind of go on one last mission. And yeah, I mean, I just thought it was good. It was just like he was kind of down on himself at first.
Yeah.
And then he pulled himself out of it. He's like, I got 6 months to live. I got 3 months of good health. Time to go on one last mission. So it was good.
Yeah, I actually was surprised by it too. It's like he lived this whole life of being a spy and then realized that everything he put into it, was it worth it? Did we really make a difference? That kind of thing. So he had this like, moment of crisis of, did I waste my entire life? And now that, like you said, he's got 6 months to live, he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to make the world a better place as well as I can and make up for the mistakes that I made and all the time that I wasted. So yeah, it was a nice first issue, and I kind of liked it, and the art was really nice too. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next, we're gonna talk about Daredevil issue 36. So this is kind of like the last issue before Devil's Reign. So you guys can go ahead and talk about that one.
Yeah. That was an interesting issue because it's an ending, but it's not really an ending, and I didn't know how to feel about that because it's like, okay, this is a great series and it's ending that, but I didn't really like how much of a prelude it was. And then the ending of the actual comic was that Kingpin probably knows Daredevil's identity, but like, okay, we've seen this 10,000 times. I don't quite care if anyone learns about Daredevil's identity because it's happened before. It's happened multiple times. So, this one wasn't as strong as previous issues for me, but I am very excited for the event to see how it'll, bring the whole Marvel universe together. But I was a little disappointed with this ending.
I did like the way that they built it up where he was like, when everybody looks at some old news article or whatever, they'll either see nothing or something different. And he sees those files and there's nothing on them. It's like, so it's like this clue that's in front of him that he's not going to be able to let go, Kingpin. And he's going to have to find that out, So, it was at least interesting in that way. It felt like, though, and probably by design, that like if you put it in terms of TV shows, it felt like a season ending, and they're prepping for that next season. That's what it felt like to me. So definitely had that kind of cliffhanger vibe set up for the event and everything. Not as strong as some of the previous issues, but I did like seeing Elektra and Matt, reunite, and her kind of, telling him why she did it, why she took on the Daredevil mantle and all that stuff. So there was some good stuff in it, but I agree it was because it was leading to something else, it wasn't that final ending that you might look for. So
yeah.
All right, sorry, I was just trying to clear up some stuff with one of the viewers. I accidentally blocked them from
Oh,
from blocking all the other messages. It was like,
yeah,
oh man, I felt bad. All right, yeah, I like Daredevil too. I thought it was pretty good. I like the ending of it. Interested to see if he finds out, like, if he does know who Daredevil actually is.
yeah,
It's kind of crazy how that marriage actually happened with him, Kingpin, and Typhoid Mary. I was like, wow,
yeah.
that actually, like, they went through with it. But I like the whole message of Matt was leaving him alone about, maybe Kingpin will straighten himself out because he found happiness. So that was kind of a little bit of an interesting message there. So I liked it. I thought it was a great book, actually. All right, so let's move on to our number 5. So Brent, what was your number 5 this week?
Mine was actually Death of Doctor Strange Spider-Man. I almost didn't get this, but it was, I was like, it's Spider-Man, so I'll try it out. And
Hold on real quick. My store
yeah,
was I didn't get it because my store's copies were damaged, so I did not receive my copy.
Yeah. So the cool thing is it was in continuity, so Peter's still in the coma. So it's all about Ben Reilly and Black Cat taking on this to-do list from Doctor Strange, basically. And it's just, it's these things that he had him go across town to, like, okay, I need you to do this and this and this. And it was literally a shopping list. And they were crossing off things as they went. But the cool thing was that Felicia doesn't trust Ben and doesn't think he should be taking on the Spider-Man mantle and all that stuff. So throughout the whole issue, they're kind of rebuilding some kind of trust and friendship between the two of them. And by the end of the issue, she gives him the blessing to take on the Spider-Man mantle for now. So it was good, and it was totally in character. There were references to the stuff, with Black Cat and Doctor Strange in the past, and funny moments where they show up at Doctor Strange's house, and she's like, "He's right there, standing right behind you, Wong. I see him." And just because it was the other version and stuff like that. So it was just kind of like a classic Spider-Man team up, but with Ben instead of Peter. So
cool.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. It's kind of a reason why I wanted that book, because it had Black Cat and Spider-Man in it. So I was like, that, even if it doesn't really have to deal with Doctor Strange, I was like, at least then I'm getting 2 characters that, I'm reading right now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Kat, what was your number 5?
Mine was Wonder Girl, issue 5 we're up to? Yeah, issue 5. I like this a lot. I think I like the other Wonder Girls a bit more in this issue. I still really like Yara, especially her reaction to Jerry. But I really liked Wonder Girl learning more about the other tribe and learning more about these other people. And then the Donna Troy cliffhanger was really good.
Yeah,
it's just a really fun book. It feels like a Wonder Woman family book more than anything, which is what I also really like about it.
Yeah. This was like my number 7, I think it was. And I liked it too. I was pissed that Jerry died. I was really pissed off.
Right? Yeah.
That. My only thing though is I feel like Yara bounces back too quickly after a death. And you saw that once before in the Future State book too. Remember when she was trying to rescue that person? And then that's when she comes across Jerry and she's like, "Hey Jerry, I love you." Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, the person you were trying to save just died in front of you, and now you're all happy, And then here she's like very upset that Jerry dies, but then the way she talks and the way it's written, it just seems like, it's done and over with. I got to move on.
Yeah.
But
she shuts down her emotions real quick. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like, it's very emotional when it happens. Like, you see it on her face, and she's just distraught and she's heartbroken. But then you don't see it going forward, Yeah. But I like the book too. I thought the book was really well done.
Yeah. I mean, I always liked this book, and it didn't actually make my top 5 this time. I think that's the first time this book hasn't made my top 5. And just because I'm a little, I love it being a Wonder Woman family book. I love, Cassie and
more about Yara.
Yeah. I wanted to, instead of bouncing around so much, and I was just a little tired of it, I think, by this issue. So yeah, that's it. That's the only reason though. But still, I enjoyed everything that happened in it, and I love that she's still kind of that rebellious in a way, because like she's like not going to take crap from anybody, even gods and that kind of thing. She's just going to do what she feels is right to do. And I do love, like you said, Kat, that there are these other tribes in other parts of the world, and we're going to learn more about them and how they're coming together and maybe even being at odds. So that was a really interesting plot point as well.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, a couple people were mentioning that they're just going to have to cut their pull list because there's just too much stuff that's, not going out there, going anywhere or whatnot. And totally get it. There's a lot of comics out there, and if something doesn't, interest you in a couple issues or so, it's like, I'm just going to drop it and move on with it, right?
You gotta sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So my number 5 is, I think it was Robin. I think mine was. Yeah, mine was Robin, Annual 2021. I thought that book was great. It gives you insight of what was going on right before the tournament happened. You got to see a little competition or a little, it reminded me what I called it of G.I. Joe, where you got to see the stats of all the characters. It's like when you got the character and on the back you flipped it over and you're like, this character, blah, 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 blah. And that's what you got. And then you got a little bit more information of Flatline, where she came from, where she got her powers. And I thought that was awesome. And also you get a little hint of Respawn of where he got all his gear from. He got it from Grant, his like little safe house, but you still don't know who that character is as well. And then it gets to the point of right when the tournament started, and then you go to the very last page of where the next story arc is going to go. Overall, I thought it was a great annual. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like you were just saying, like I like that things were connected. That's definitely the biggest thing, because a lot of these annuals are just like one-offs. But yeah, I like that you got to learn a bit, but it didn't feel like if you miss this annual, it's not like you miss a very important piece of information.
Right.
It gives you just enough teasers, like, oh, you get a little bit of Talia al Ghul, you get a little of Flatline's background. So I thought it was a really well balanced issue.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I liked how the artwork was the same, right?
That too. It
wasn't a different artist, and it stayed true to what was going on in the real story.
I think that's what's been so great about Robin, is that it feels like it's a real comic series. Like I don't know why, like I hate saying that, but there's so many comics that they are stalled. They don't really feel like runs. They just feel like, oh, we're just trying to get to point A to point B. But this feels like an actual run of a comic book. And I miss having those unique voices in superhero comics. And I think there are a handful, like the Nightwings, the Robins, the Immortal Hulks, but we need more books like this.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I, like you both said, I enjoyed learning about some of these characters. Flatline especially, learning, her whole history and her abilities and all of that, and how she was kind of the outcast of her family because of it and stuff. It gives her and Robin a lot more in common. And I'm curious to see where that friendship goes in the future. And I love that not even Batman had any info on Respawn. Like he has no idea who this is, and so that was good. And so I really enjoyed it as well. And this is like one of my favorite books out right now. So I'm glad that they just tied it all in together.
Yeah, absolutely. Tevye goes to our annuals pointless.
It depends on the annual, right?
It depends. They definitely have their history of it being a story that you don't have to read, or sometimes annuals are just a completely different story altogether, and then it's like a filler before the next story arc starts, but in this case, when it comes to Robin, it was something that, like Kat said, it wasn't a must read, but it was something that definitely gives you more of an insight to what's going on in the story. Whereas Batman Fear State, did you have to read that annual? No, you really didn't. It was
which is such a shame, because that was the last issue of James Tynion's run.
Right.
So that felt weird, but
it just confirmed that you're not going to see these characters again for a very long time. That's all it was. And it just depends with some of these. Like if you were reading the Ghostmaker story, you're going to want to read the Batman Annual if you cared about that story. But otherwise, you don't have to.
Right.
The Nightwing story, we're going to talk about that, I'm sure, on our thoughts on that one. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I think when it comes to annuals, you're rolling the dice with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even going all the way back to like when they used to do them more regularly, before they stopped doing them for a while, now they're doing them more. But sometimes they would like do, especially Marvel, they would do like a 3-part story between annuals of different books, different series. But it was still not connected to anything else. So it was like, if you want to see a cool team up of these characters, get that annual, but you don't necessarily need it. So like Mike said, it just depends on what the story is and what your reason for reading that story is, I guess.
So that was like Black Cat's story, how it was tied into all the annuals just recently. That's how Marvel used to do a lot of their stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So let's move on. Let's talk about Detective Comics Annual. Then this was...
Well, that helped me make some decisions.
This was a book where
Detective Comics run.
I said it last week. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to buy it because, it's just going to be a prelude to that Arkham City building that they're building. And then I wound up buying it anyway, like an idiot. And then I read it today and I'm just like, this was horrible. I did not like it at all.
It really didn't sell me on anything, which was a shame because I actually was more excited for that weekly event than before I read this. But I'm like, oh, if it's this, then I don't know if I'm really even want to read the weekly event. That's so many comics.
Yeah, this is the one about the Forgotten, right? I'm trying because I read a bunch of stuff all together.
This is
all the
prelude.
kids of
Yeah. That's this one. It's the kid one.
Little Pete Faust and all that. Yeah. The whatever is the Meager Man, I think is what.
It's the serial killer dude.
Yeah,
wings out of bones.
Yeah. So the concept of all these relatives or people connected to all these characters from Batman's past and stuff is interesting, but I agree. I don't think the delivery sold me on anything here, and it's like this Mirror Man dude. I was like, I don't care if I ever see this guy again.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I honestly wasn't a fan of the artwork. It wasn't my favorite artwork, especially when you're so used to seeing superb artwork in Detective Comics, and then you read this annual and you're like, oh man, not knocking the person that did the artwork in this book, it's just not my style, and things look disproportionate, and I didn't enjoy it at all, and I did not care about the story, and this did not get me excited for what's to come for Detective, and that kind of scares me, Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that was definitely disappointing. All right, so let's talk about Venom Issue 2. So Kat didn't read this. Brant, what did you think of the issue?
I did not read it either.
Oh, shit. So this story had to do a lot more of Dylan in this issue. You did not see any of Venom really in this book at all. I don't think if you did at all. And so basically it was about Eddie leaving a message for Dylan about having to meet up with this person at this particular diner because people are after, obviously, Dylan, and they want his symbiote. So that's what they're trying to do. You get to see him team up with Sleeper, with the cat, the symbiote, obviously, the Venom symbiote. And it was okay. I mean, I don't think it was the best. It's definitely setting up more stuff. There was some action. It's just taking a while to get to where it needs to get to. By the time you get to the end of the issue, though, you're kind of vested and you want to find out what's going to happen next and who is this person that Dylan is actually teaming up with. So it was okay. It wasn't like my favorite Venom issue out of all time, but yeah, definitely no Eddie in this issue.
There's too many books this week. That's why I'm like, you gotta cut your losses sometimes.
Yeah,
it was definitely like all those annuals, man. It was crazy.
The annuals is especially what really brought that list. I had like 15 or 16 books. That's, a hefty list for me these days.
I told Bran I had like 23 books.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many I had. I ended up reading 16. I think there were a couple I didn't get to, but yeah.
I like my reading to be anywhere between like 12 and 15 books, like the most. Anything over that, it's so hard for me to finish. And like I said, I had to read like 8, what did I say, 9 books, Brant? I think I read
8 or 9
books earlier. And being that you had a heavy week of annuals on top of it too, it was just tough to get
a lot of long books.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was so long. Like I don't usually mind a 15 book week, even though I'm reading them all in one day. That's probably my limit as well, though. But because they were so long, it kind of felt like 20 books in a way.
Yeah, when 5 of them are like 50, 60 pages.
Yeah,
it takes a while.
And then I told Brant earlier, Kat, like I didn't read through the whole Avengers issue. I only read the She-Hulk portion of it.
Oh, well, that was smart. That was probably a smart move.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's move on to our number 4. So, Kat, what was your number 4?
Mine was Fantastic Four, issue 38. Speaking of She-Hulk, this is such a fun issue. This is exactly what I want in my Fantastic Four. And also it was very reminiscent of Dan Slott's old school She-Hulk, because you make a court case fun and actiony, but there's also consequences because the family might lose their kids because of what the wizard is saying. So honestly, it just kept my attention the whole time for a book that could have been super boring, but it really wasn't. It was so fun, and I just love seeing She-Hulk, and it just felt like classic Marvel.
It was fun, but it was cheesy too.
That's kind of the point, though.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Because I think it kind of reminds you of like more of a little bit of a simpler time.
Yeah.
When it came to some Marvel, I enjoyed this book just like Kat did. It was, for me, I thought this was the true return of She-Hulk.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. This was the best She-Hulk I've read in a long time. Just like stuff like when Diablo is called to be on the stand and they're just like, all right, it's clobbering time. Let's beat him up. It's like, why would you do that in the middle of the courtroom?
And it's funny because they're like holding like Ben Grimm back and they're like, no, that's what they want, and it's so funny though. I had a fun time though. Really liking Fantastic Four books. The Decade stuff is entertaining. I did not think I would like this Fantastic Four run as much as
It's one of my favorites in a while.
Yeah, it's really good. I think he finally has found a book that is for him. And it's not surprising that he put She-Hulk in this book as quick as he possibly could because he wrote her, and so I thought that was perfect timing. And I think maybe he appreciates the character too, saying, thank God she's back. And here she is.
For sure. Yeah. This is definitely Dan Slott's best series to date.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really don't remember the last time I enjoyed Fantastic Four as much as I do with this title, where I just feel like every month, I mean, maybe minus 1 or 2 arcs, I'm excited to read the book.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Tevia says, I love Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four books. Now,
I like what he introduced. I just didn't really like the storytelling.
It's just, it was a real serious take on those characters, and that
it was not for me.
And everything was just totally insane, right? I mean, but it's a different take. Like a lot of people like old school Fantastic Four, and I feel like this is the closest that we get to it is right here in this run right here from Dan Slott. So, all right, Brant, what was yours?
Mine was the Robin Annual. So we already talked about it.
All right. Mine was actually this animal book. What the heck is it called again? Animal Castle. So this book was done by Ablaze, and this book was quite interesting as it's like this kingdom that is run by animals, right? And wherever the people went, nobody knows. They could have died, they could have disappeared, or whatever it is. And the animals, like, there's these dogs, they're like in charge of this castle, and they control all the other animals. And basically, it's like these guys don't have enough food to take care of their family, and then they revolt against the dogs and the ones that rule the castle or whatever, the kingdom. And it was just a pretty good story. It was like really interesting. I mean, I definitely would suggest this read. It's just like I bought it because it would remind me of like Stray Dogs in a way, but it's a completely different story. I mean, the animals talk to each other, they're in their own world and whatnot. And this was just so different. And I thought it was just badass, seeing these poor animals starving because these dogs are running the show here. And then they revolt against the dogs, but there's some big consequences. And it's really based around this cat who is trying to feed her kittens, and I thought it was good, man. It's just like, it's something that you should pick up and try to read, because that's how you'll truly understand it. I think it takes a little while for it to get started, but by the time you get to the end of it, you're fully vested because you want to see what happens with it.
Wow.
Looks like it's selling well too.
Yeah, 97 Ghosts says, Animal Castle was my read of the week as well. Blown away. Yeah. Animal Castle's flying off the shelves. I only was able to get a blank variant. Cover A is going for $30 and up, and it says it's a play off an Animal Farm from high school.
That's what I thought when I heard it. I was like, oh,
right.
Okay.
So
I had no idea it was going to be a like hot book or anything. That's
Me
crazy.
either. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So
Really? Oh yeah. I mean, someone said, in my comments, it said not to sleep on it. And I did some research on it as well. And I was like, all right, well, let me check it out. And I was like, if I saw the cover, I'm like, oh, this could be like a Stray Dogs type of thing. Like not thinking that it would catch fire or heat up like it has. But I thought the story would be similar to it, So
we do have a $5 your super chat. New type JB Lee. I feel Nick Spencer should stick to humor and character interaction, because whenever he does something like Secret Empire and Kindred arc, falls flat. Yeah, I think the smaller stories. I don't even know if it's just like Ant-Man. I really like his run for the most part, and then we talk about Superior Foes, Morning Glories, and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah. Superior Foes was hilarious. I love that book. Yeah,
Ant-Man was good too.
Mm-hmm.
I
thought the beginning was my Cassie stuff. I was like, no, what are you doing to Cassie? And then he made up for it and made a really good Cassie and Scott story.
Yeah, that was really good too.
I think I have every issue of Superior Foes. I really enjoyed that. I love what he did with those characters. It's like he made like loser characters be super funny, and that's what was so good about it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that comment, actually. All right. So let's move on. So that was my number 4, right? So we're moving on to Amazing Spider-Man issue 80. I'll say this again. I did not like this issue. I hated this issue.
It's such a shame. And what's so frustrating about this issue is that the ending is actually good, because you get to say, okay, they're looking for Miles Morales. Cool. Why wasn't that in this issue? And then the Aunt May, Dr. Octopus team up. Cool. That's interesting. And they wait until the last 2 pages to tell an interesting story.
But
the fight between Ben and Kraven is pointless. There's no reason. It's just like the whole Morbius fight. There's no reason for the fight to actually take place. You're taking a legendary villain like Kraven the Hunter, the one that killed Spider-Man, and you're throwing him in this book just to drug Ben Reilly, and he's tripping balls, and it's just this worthless fight, and then all of a sudden he wins the fight. And it was just that the whole issue was pointless, right? And the only thing that I liked was what Kat said, the very end with Aunt May and Dr. Octopus, and the others, like the very last scene with Maxine Danger, that's her, I guess that's her name, about how she said that she can it seems like she can wipe clean of Ben's memory, because they said that they can reboot him. So that she said that at the very end, what I found interesting. But when it came to all the Kraven the Hunter stuff, I was like, this is dumb and this is pointless. This doesn't mean anything, you know?
I think the whole point of that was to kind of illustrate Ben going off book and getting him in hot water with Maxine.
Again.
That's like the whole point of it. Yeah.
Again, for the third time already.
Right.
Like, this has happened from the very first time that he took that suit and he went to go visit Peter, and he keeps doing it.
Yeah. So it's like, give me a little bit more depth than that. Give me something. Yeah, right. I agree.
And then this guy's like, "Oh, I'll cover for you, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take the week off." But this issue was just, I don't know, I didn't like it. But I am looking forward to the Point issue now. With this one, could be fun.
I actually am starting to like Janine too. She kind of won me over a little bit in this issue, just from, you know.
The girlfriend.
The girlfriend, because she's going to drop kick the
right.
The dude.
Right.
Like,
yeah. There's just so very few moments, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So Kat has a comment. Comment? She goes, "Hey Kat, what's your next book, or is it too early to tell?"
Never too early to tell. So the next book on Kickstarter, I'm gonna post a link, is the Dancer Issue 2. It's gonna be fully in color. So that's gonna be the end of January. And then we also have the submissions for By Visibility coming up right now. If you guys are a writer or artist and you want to submit to By Visibility, you don't have to be bisexual. Just have to let us know why you are passionate about the subject. And we have that going on right now too. And of course, Slice of Life is being posted every week on Webtoon. I'll post something about that as well. So yeah, very busy, keeping us definitely very busy. Thank you for the question.
All right. And then we have a comment here that said, I'm sad that Me You Love in the Dark and Fight Girls are finished. That makes 2 of us, or maybe 3 of us, or 4 of us, at least in one book.
Yeah. One book I definitely enjoying the Scotty Young book, but Final Girl, just like
Fight
what was it called? Fight Girls. Fight Girls. Fight Girls. Final Girl probably would have been a more interesting book for me. The artwork was very good for that book. The art was great. Just didn't love the story.
All right, next book. Let's talk about Firepower, issue 18. Dude, super fast read. Everything blows up. The daughter uses the firepower. God, what happened? Oh, we get to see a big ass dragon at the end of the issue, and they're trying to escape an avalanche. And what's next? I mean, I don't know.
I like this issue. I just thought that the ending was more interesting than the lead up. Like I like the family being together, but I'm like, man, okay, now the dragon's here. Cool. Let's see what's going on with that.
Exactly. It took a long time to get to that dragon.
Now how they deal with that dragon.
Right.
What happens going forward, right?
Yeah. I love the daughter coming into her own. I want to see her.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Yeah, come in and take on that mantle eventually, because I still feel like now that we know that she's got power, that this is going to be her story. You know, at least at some point in the future. So.
I think they're definitely building towards it.
Yeah.
I do hope that this book does slow down a bit. Just so we can get more of those really good family moments, though. I think when it's so action like this, the book has become such a fast read that really at the end of the day, nothing much really happens, though, you know? So I want to see that book when it's at home, when they're a family, you know? So hopefully we get to see more of that.
Definitely where it's at the best, I would say. But it's cool at least that they're together, because that wasn't as fun when they were separate, which I don't even know why they had to separate them from one issue.
Right. All right, so let's move on to number 3. My number 3 was, speaking of that book, The Me You Love in the Dark, final issue. I like this book. However, it just ended, and I'm like, it just ends and it's
Yeah.
over. It's just like, just as it gets super intense and really good and really scary and really dark, it's over. She burns the place down and then that's it, right? And she's got this smile on her face and she's like, oh, thank God. But I loved, like, you got to see the actual ghost, the entity, on how he was trying to make things right, and no matter what he did, he couldn't do it right. And yeah, I mean, I loved all of it. I really did. It was just like, and then it was just 5 minutes later, it's empty, it's done. It's like, oh, that's it, we're done with it.
Yeah, I thought the ending for me, like, I like the last issue more. Like, I like the buildup of the allegory to the abusive relationship than when we saw it, because I felt like it hit the nail on the head a little bit too much. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's an abusive relationship. I get the allegory. And then, she's able to escape, which is great. I just like, oh, yeah, like you said, Mike, that's it? Oh my God, I wanted more. So I like the penultimate issue a little bit more than the last issue, but still very much recommend the series as a whole. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I couldn't have said that better. That's exactly how I felt about it. And, I did like the way that she finally defeated him, with the, this is how I see you now, and just kind of distracted him, basically. So that, that was nice and poetic, but I wanted a little bit more too.
Yeah, because it got really good. It was just like, oh, good. And then it's like, oh, leaving. I'm like,
yeah, right. And even more maybe from like an outsider perspective, because we had that guy who died, but it's like, oh, maybe just more than just her. I don't know. Again, I felt like some of it just was too on the nose.
He was just like this dead, like right away. Like you'd even see his death, right?
There wasn't.
And then I would have loved to seen Ro on how she like deals with herself after the whole situation. Like maybe an epilogue about how she's handling herself, I think that would have added a lot more character growth. Now, maybe, I'm just saying, maybe there might be a volume 2 of this. You never know.
Yeah.
That would be great. I would love to see that. And it kind of like very different series, but Refrigerator Full of Heads, where you still get to see June from that first book, but you get a different perspective. You have new main characters. I think I would want to see that. Like, you still see Ro, but you get different main characters, maybe dealing with a similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you might even see the ghost and where the ghost came from and what that was about.
Yeah, exactly. A prelude or something. We do have a question from the Bronze page. Have you guys ever thought about doing a wizard type magazine about collecting comics, maybe minus the price guide? I would buy it. I think a couple of years ago, maybe we would have said yes to that. I think me and Branch, with our own collective of creative books, don't have time for that, sadly. And, I doing a lot less journalism than I once was to focus on my creative endeavors. So maybe a couple of years ago, yes, but I don't think at this point that's at least where my head's at.
Yeah, same. It's definitely something, something similar would have been in the realm of possibility a few years ago. But.
Yeah, there's no way. I couldn't do it either. It's just like when you look at between my family and tennis instructing and YouTube, it just takes up all of my time and I don't have that extra time. And plus you got to add actually reading those comic books into all that too, so it's just, unfortunately not. If there was more time in a day, maybe, but
you're lucky that we're able to come together and do the podcast.
Right.
And with all the time.
It's definitely a great idea though. It's definitely a great idea. If we had the time, we probably would do it, but everyone here has got to make their living, right?
Exactly. It would be a really, really cool project. But again, I think it's just time. Wish we all had more time.
All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about we're on our number 3, right? So Brant.
Well, actually, before we go to number 3, we do have a super chat. Okay. New Type says, have you seen the cover for the upcoming Ms. Marvel mini? It looks great, with a greater focus on the entire supporting cast, Mike and Gabe again. I did see, I think at least one of the covers for that. It did look like there were more of supporting characters, which, that's what I love about Ms. Marvel. So I'm glad to see it.
I did not see it.
I don't think
I think it was one of issue 2. I think I remember Zoe was on one of the covers. There was definitely the supporting characters in general on there. I tried to I like looking at the solicits, but I do like trying to be a little surprised when the books come out.
Yeah. I don't remember seeing it if I did, so sorry about that.
All right. Again,
so
thank
going
you
back
for
to number
supporting the
3.
channel.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
we were on number 3, and I think I was going to Brant.
So mine is Captain Marvel, number 34, just because of the stuff with Marvel. Mainly,
Nice.
I liked, that tease of the reuniting of those two. It's such
He's a
a
clone, though, isn't he?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But he even fooled her for a minute, and it's just like, and then he definitely surprised her with that kiss, and it's and then she's like all back into the fold again, and also just her kind of exhibiting more, in more different ways that her powers can. I not being able to find the word that I'm looking for, but she's using her powers in different ways, and it was really cool. It starts off with like her basically creating this other clone of herself, like this fire person, and then she phases out of the coffin thing and all this stuff, and I love that they're kind of leveling her up throughout the story. So
she kind of compared herself to Binary.
Yeah.
So it kind of looked like that. I thought that was kind of cool. But I was pissed off at the end. I was like, man, we're just kind of winding up back where she ended up in the last issue, like at the same place, back on that table again. But it
definitely felt like a point A, point B issue. But I like this arc. I like the promise of this arc, and obviously, just this run in general has been pretty solid overall.
Yeah. I think Kelly Thompson is doing a pretty good job with this, and she's giving Carol so many different types of powers, throughout this run too.
Yeah, like we saw her do the eye thing a few issues back, and now this, and it's just I like that. What?
Sorry, Brant. I was saying she kicked like she beat like Thor, remember, and she beat like Iron Man and all that stuff, and then she was the Ronin for a while.
Yeah, I just like that we're seeing different things done with her, and I love when you can take a character that's kind of had a status quo for a while and do something completely different with them and change them up and explore new possibilities with them. So I think that's the charm of this run.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and let's see. Then did I do you cut?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Mine was the Robin Annual, so we talked about it.
That's funny. Mine was 5, Brant's was 4, and yours is 3. That's hilarious. Cool stuff. All right, so let's talk about these 2 books we already talked about, so we're going to just go on to number 2 then. And my number 2 was Fantastic Four issue 38. Had a blast with it, and I love the artwork in that book too. I didn't really mention it, but it just has that, I don't know, that feel to
energetic.
It. Really enjoy it. Yeah,
it's fun.
All right, Brant, what was yours? Number 2?
Mine was actually Daredevil, which we kind of already talked about. So
okay. And Kat?
Mine was Darkhawk issue. What are we up to? 4. I'm surprised no one mentioned that one, because I'm like, Nightwing's out, so
I liked it too. There was a lot of books that I did like, and it was hard to really rank my books this week, and I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, this issue I was really not surprised, but I liked the angle, because we were talking about Kyle Higgins should write Miles Morales, and totally should, because I thought Miles was written so well here, and that's why it skyrocketed for me, because I miss Miles. I miss like a good written Miles, or that's not English, but well-written Miles. I like a well-written Miles, and I like that he was the mentor. You don't get to see that very often. And then just, dealing with the MS stuff. It was just a really well-rounded issue for me.
Yeah, I like that whole thing, and it just felt cool. Like Miles was just sitting there, kind of listening to him, taking it all in, and all the while he's like texting, and you got the whole thing with like Captain America shows up. He's like, I just learned, you don't not text back Captain America. So at first you're like, oh, he's kind of being rude to this guy, but there's a very good reason for it. But yeah, I loved it. I thought Miles was totally in character here, and if we got this kind of Miles in a regular series, I would be very
great.
excited for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Real quick, Empire Comics says I always catch you guys towards the end because of work. Hey, that's okay as long as you catch us at some point, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the show. And James Phelps says dig in Darkhawk a lot.
Yeah.
When it comes to Darkhawk, I really enjoyed this too. And you know what this book does a great job at is it brings in characters, like it brings in Miles Morales, who's been around for a little while, brings in a brand new Darkhawk character, but then it brings in an old school character like Captain America. And when these three were teaming up in this book, you know what it felt like? It felt like it felt like a Marvel Universe comic book. You know, It was kind of like lighthearted. It just seemed like it was a shared type of universe where you get these three different characters that are coming together to do a common mission, right? It felt like Captain America teaming up with these guys, he wasn't beneath them. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of funny because Captain America was always like after Bucky. He didn't like having like kid heroes around, but he's like evolved with the times and learned to respect Miles, and Miles is taking this guy under his wing a little bit, so you trust him too. And it's just it was nice to see the three, not really three generations because Miles and Darkhawk are closer in age, but still three different phases of experience, I guess. Teaming up like that. Yeah, it was cool.
I loved how they were like, when they saw Captain America, they were like, whoa, it's Captain America. Like, it's like their idol, and I love that feeling from that. This book was really good and I really enjoyed it. And unfortunately it's gonna end after this issue. And there was good scenes in this too. I like the part though where the dude was in that armor like Dr. Octopus, and he was like, he's like, you're actually wearing
that's what you chose.
He's like, it's not done yet, it's the color, I gotta change the color. And he goes, the color you're worried about? Like, oh my god, that's hilarious. That scene was awesome. So
I love this book. I wish it was an ongoing. I want more of it.
I wish more people are reading it too. I feel like no one's really talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard. People look at Darkhawk, they're like, who the fuck's Darkhawk? I don't care about that. And you gotta give something like this a chance, because people are saying, well, we want something new, something different.
And here it is.
This is it. And you're having a great writer write this book, and you gotta take advantage of it while it's here, because if enough people buy it, then you might see an ongoing series of it.
Yeah.
All right. So that was, who was that? That was
Kat.
So Brant, you gotta go.
I went.
Oh, you did the Daredevil,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So then we're just gonna keep going. Then we're gonna talk about. Let's talk about this book first. I like how Kat leaves Marauders last, and
I mean, why not?
I hated that book too. I did
not. No, I know.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't want to.
I want to talk about a good book at the end. I don't want to talk about this book.
Okay, that makes sense.
This book was horrible. My God.
Are we talking Marauders? Okay.
Yeah. I was pretty bored.
I like the last little 2-issue arc better, when they were trying to take over this spaceship, better than this one. Like, what was this all about?
Nothing's happening it is just a weird. I'm really excited for the new creative team for this.
I thought the art was better in this issue though. It was fun at least, and I liked Iceman again, like evolution of powers. It's coming, all sizes, beating Fin Fang Foom. But aside from that, it was there was nothing happening here at all. So
this is. I can't even describe. I mean, I'm like, you got Emma Frost sitting around, then you got this other guy, I don't even know, it's like Shaw walking around with that dude, and then you got them on this sailboat sailing around, and then Iceman's fighting Fin Fang Foom. I'm like, what's happening? I'm like, this. You want to talk about a book that just lost its direction altogether? This was the book. This was definitely the book. I just feel like Jerry Duggan was like, dude, I'm on X-Men. I'm just going to write whatever I would want to write here, whatever. You know, it was like the last thing that he wrote good was when Emma and Kitty messed up Shaw. That was the last great issue of that book.
That was so good. Yeah. Something happened between that.
It's like this book set out, at least in our minds, I guess, set out to be this Kitty Emma pirate kind of story, and it ended up being,
you never see him interact.
Yeah, it ended up being the Hellfire Club. That's what this is. It's a thinly veiled Hellfire Club book.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So can't wait for that one then. When's the new creative team coming?
January.
Oh yes. All right. So let's talk about a good book. I'm sure you guys will agree that the Nightwing Annual was a good book. Now I told you guys.
I'm glad you picked it up. I'm glad you, because I know you were like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. I'm like, oh no, is Mike not gonna pick this up? And it was just so good.
I was at the shop and I'm like, I thought about what you said, Kat, and I'm like, she's right. Like, how can I not pick up a Tom Taylor book? And I love Nightwing, right? And this has nothing to do with Fear State. So I was like, I'm going to pick this up. And this was so good. I absolutely love this book. It's just a tale of two brothers, you know, working together. You get to see them work together in the past, and that reflects on the present. And I love that story. It was just really well done, and enjoyed every minute. There were so many moments. I mean, you guys saw my panels of the week. 4 of my 5 panels were from this book alone, because there were so many great moments, and that's what Tom Taylor does so well, is he gets great character moments in a story, and I loved it.
Yeah, I like that it's a relationship that surprisingly doesn't get spotlighted, just the two of them. Because I'm not saying like we do get Jason and Dick moments, but it's usually like Tim's there or Barbara's there. Like we never really get just to see their relationship. And I just really loved it. I loved how he trusted Jason. I liked how their bond was created. I love seeing Alfred here. It was just such a good book, and Tom Taylor's doing such a good job for this book. I'm not surprised by any means that I love this book.
Yeah. I mean, Tom Taylor, he rarely lets you down. And yeah, it again, the whole brother story, the whole flashback, the teasing. Did you really steal the tires off the Batmobiles? That whole thing is, and connecting, both through their roles with Batman, but also just, as that brotherly connection, Dick kind of teaching him the ropes and being a big brother and not just being like another authoritative figure.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed that too. So
yeah, everything about the book was really well done. And if someone did not read this book, because again, it was annual or had the high price tag, I would say this is one of the ones where you can go out and buy, and you will love this story. You really, really will. And if it's still on the shelves, whether you went to the comic book shop today and you still didn't pick it up, or if you go tomorrow because that's when true new comic book day is, then I say pick this book up. You won't be disappointed with this one, guys. So definitely a great read. All right. So then what's your number 1 then this week, Kat?
Oh, I wonder what. It was Nightwing.
Yeah. And Brant?
Darkhawk.
And mine was Nightwing as well.
You didn't have Nightwing.
Nightwing was even in the top 5.
I liked a lot of books, and it was hard for me to rank them. So some things just had to kind of fall underneath.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I'm glad Darkhawk made it, because
cool.
I really like that book. So.
I have a feeling that like if Nightwing would have, if wasn't in here, maybe Darkhawk would have been better. But I looked at Darkhawk and I was like, I'm looking at Darkhawk. I'm like, how is Darkhawk not in this list? But I was like, I loved all those other books too.
Yeah.
And it was just so hard.
It was
to
a
make
hard
decision.
Yeah, it was really hard this week. I went back and forth, but yeah.
It was actually a really good week. Even with all these annuals, there were a lot of books. So it was like, oh, there's a lot of solid books this week.
Yeah, there was only like 2 or 3 books that I was like, the rest were really solid. So
yeah, Ghostmaker Annual. Detective Comics Annual.
I did not read the Batman Ghostmaker.
I didn't either.
I accidentally bought it like a dummy. I was like, oh, I'm like Batman. For some reason, I was confused. Like, I thought Batman was tying into Fear State, and I didn't realize that Fear State was an Omega issue.
Yeah.
So, like, when I got my pull, and then I was pulling out the books, and I looked at it, I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, you know, and I was like, I didn't even realize that I had that. Like, I connected that Batman and Ghostmaker were the, you know, it was the based off of the Ghostmaker backup story.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I did not pick that up. The Joker Annual wasn't too bad, but also you do not need to read it. It's like, you know,
I bought that one too, but I told Brant earlier, like, I went to go read it. And I was like, I'm just exhausted. I can't read anymore.
Yeah, no, it's not a necessary book, but it's not a bad book either.
Right.
So, like, I think when you do eventually read it, you'll be like, oh, that was fine. You know, it just
gotcha.
It wasn't a Nightwing.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Excuse me. I'm like super exhausted. Anyway, I'm gonna pass it on to Brant. We're gonna talk about most anticipated. Or no, we got chopping block.
Oh yeah.
I
don't think we have any this week.
Yeah.
All right.
It was that good of a week.
Yeah. Let's just go on to the most anticipated then.
I honestly forgot about most anticipated. I was like, okay, let's close out the show. All right. Speaking of Batman, though, Batman 118 comes out tomorrow, or today.
The new creative team.
Yeah.
I love Robin, so I'm really hoping I love this Batman because, like, Joshua Williamson is writing some goddamn great Robin. Like honestly, probably the best Damian Wayne story I've read is this current Robin.
By far.
So I'm like, let's hope Batman's good because I need. The thing is, like, James Tynion was great on Batman, but I think once he got that Substack thing, he just like, okay, we're ending this now. And that's just kind of how I felt. Yeah,
pretty much. And then we kind of alluded to it earlier with Amazing Spider-Man 80 Beyond. This is the continuation of that May and Doc Ock story. So
yeah, this could be the best point issue we get out of this whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm still just looking forward to that Mary Jane and Black Cat story. That's like what I'm most excited for. I know it's not a point issue. I think it's like an annual of some sort.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer #1. I am not current on Buffy by any means, but that title caught my attention, The Last Vampire Slayer. So I'm curious about, what that entails. So check that out. We also got Knighted #2, Mike. Yeah. So that first issue was good. Looking
forward to that. I want to see how that main character deals with being the Knight, as they call it. So I wonder if he's going to make some mistakes, how he's going to go through maybe some training and learns to accept his new responsibility.
Yeah. It'd be fun to see it all fall apart. All right, we got is this the last issue of Fantastic Four Life Story, Kat?
Yes, it is the last
issue 5. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've been enjoying it. I don't think it's. Well, I can't say it's not as good as Spider-Man Life Story. I think they're kind of par and par, hand in hand. I like it. It's good. At least for me, I like it.
Yeah, for you maybe. I dropped it, so obviously it wasn't as good for me. But yeah, that's cool. We got a new #1 in Wastelanders Hawkeye #1. So another old man Hawkeye story. So that'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to that because he teams up with Daredevil, and it makes sense because he's lost his eyesight, and so now he has to deal with not being able to see. So what perfect person to team up with than Matt Murdock, right?
Right, exactly. And then another #1, we talked about this recently, was Crimson Cage #1. Was it last week we were talking about this book? Yeah.
I think I don't even know if it was on the show. I think it was off air. You guys
was it off air? Yeah. Mike and I were talking about this, and it's a new wrestling comic from John Lees, who also does Hotel and various other books. But so I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for it, actually. So
yeah, you gotta be excited whenever there's a wrestling book, and then when it's like an independent book in itself too. Like, why not give it a shot? It could be really cool. And we also have
we do chat too. Yeah, if you want to read it, Mike, go for it.
I think it's good for a new Miss M to be lighthearted again, because the issue with Ahmed's run was that it was too dark and angsty, even more than his Miles. What do you think about that, Kat? You thought it was dark?
I don't know if it was dark, but it was definitely angsty.
Definitely angsty.
So I agree. Yeah. I would like to see less drama between the friends, because I feel like with G. Willow Wilson, it was more warranted. So like the Bruno stuff, right? Like there's more warrant to that. That butting heads and him kind of moving and all that fun jazz. Like it just, things built up better when there was drama. This was just like unnecessary drama where like Zoe, we keep talking about Zoe, but Zoe like betraying Kamala, and then the next issue saying, "Oh, all right, whatever, we forgive each other." So it was just kind of weird drama.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean,
something different.
Yeah. Like I said, I read the first few issues of it, and I just didn't like the tone of the book myself. Definitely a different tone from from the first volume, and it's like, man, that just sucks when you have the original creator of the character leave. And then you get a different writer. They just don't get the same voice, right?
I agree.
Yeah. All right, then we got Dark Knights of Steel #2. Really good first issue.
So excited. Yeah. I never thought I would say that about a medieval comic book, but Tom Taylor, man, it's so good.
Yeah. What's going to happen? I mean, do you think Batman and Superman are going to fight in this? Do you think they become enemies?
That's so interesting. I think they got to learn how to be brothers. I think that's going to be the story. It's going to be them learning how to be family, because that's a first.
And it's like, is like Batman going to be like praised above Superman because now he's got powers too? That's going to be
what I mean. Like, and does Superman blame Batman for the death of his father?
That's a good question, because we don't know where that arrow came from. Many people blame Batman, and there's so many possibilities. I'm really excited to see where it goes. And just from issue 1, you're like, oh, there's such a big world here, and you could explore it for years and years and years to come.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Then we have Superman Son of Kal-El 2021 Annual.
I'm excited for it, but also, I mean, you had the big cliffhanger of Jay and John. And I don't think that's going to be dealt with at all. So it kind of sucks that we have to wait a whole nother story to get there.
I don't think I'm buying this one. I think this time I'm not buying this one.
But it's Tom Taylor.
When it comes to Superman, though, I don't like Superman as much. And that doesn't have anything to do with the relationship. I like the relationship between Superboy and Jay. That's not what bothers me. I don't like the bad guy in this, and I don't like the Superboy with his powers over
supercharged.
I think this is actually a Lex Luthor story, though. I don't think it has anything to do with. I don't quote me on that.
I think so too. I'm trying to.
So if that's the case, that's fine. Then it has nothing to do with the main story, and I still won't read it. So
understandable. There's so many annuals that you want to just continue the current story.
Right. I'll read when the story comes back, I'll just read the current story. So that's fine.
Yeah, he's coming face to face with Lex in Metropolis. So that's what the story's about. But our last book to talk about is Devil's Reign, issue 1. So the beginning of this major Daredevil story arc.
It's 6 issues, right? Is it 6?
I think, it's not that long. I'm not a big fan of events. So I'm like, man, do I care? But the events I have liked in the past 5 years are things that are connected to a book. So, I loved War of the Realms. I liked King in Black. I liked, stuff like Black Vortex. So I'm like, all right, if there's any promise to an event, it's going to be something that's been building for years with Chip Zdarsky. So I'm interested. I'm just a little worried after that Daredevil issue.
I still liked it, but I understand your concern though.
I'm excited for the event. I think the event's going to be kind of cool. It's a different type of event, I feel, just because I like the street level characters and it doesn't have to do with anything cosmic. It doesn't have to do with crazy X-Men. And then whatever it ties into on books that I currently read from Marvel, those will be the ones I buy. And that's that. I'm not going to I don't think I'm going to go out of my way for those, off the wall series that you never read. And it's just specifically tied to the event. I think I'll just read the stuff that I currently read, and if it ties in, it ties in. If
I don't even remember what tie-ins they had, so I don't even.
It was quite a few. It really was.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot, but I don't remember
Yeah.
if I was interested in any of them. I don't know. I'm sure there will be like a Spider-Man one. I'll pick up that.
So it is 6 issues. It's all about Kingpin unleashing these secrets of different Marvel heroes. Taskmaster's going to be in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, Kraven, Rhino, Shocker, all these characters you would associate.
Superior, what's his name? Superior Spider-Man. Doc Ock actually has his own book in there.
Yeah.
That I do know. I remember that.
So
yeah, I think it was was it the villains one? It wasn't just him. It was like a lot of people in it.
I don't remember.
And there was a Thunderbolts one too. And then
yeah,
they have a lot. I'll take it week by week. We'll see which ones look interesting.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's the only way to handle it. Looks like Jessica Drew maybe. I was trying to pull up a tie-ins list, but I haven't.
Don't worry,
there's
you
an
go
X-Men
to
one.
Store tomorrow. They'll probably be hard with like 30 titles on it.
There's an X-Men one focused on Emma Frost, so you'll probably get that one.
Man, I like I'll get my Emma for sure.
There's a Winter Soldier, a Villains for Hire. That's the one that has Rhino and Taskmaster and all those in it. A Superior 4, which is all about Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Luke Cage, Spider-Woman.
I think it was the Luke Cage. Yeah, I think that was the canceled one.
Yeah.
That's
so that must have been the canceled one. Yeah, that sucks. So
nothing for nothing. Why do you need Emma Frost in a Daredevil series?
I'm ready.
Cat's gonna be like, why not? Cat will
why not? I'm ready. I'm ready to see what this is all about.
I love Emma Frost as much as you do. I would love to see her in any book, but it's just like you're really pushing it when you got her in the whole
We need
thing.
to know her secrets.
Yeah,
she has a lot of secrets. Kingpin needs to know.
It's apparently the secret past with Kingpin and Emma that nobody knows about. So
I'm ready. Let's see.
Yeah. Secret affair.
I'm most excited for that tie-in.
Secret affair, and that's how Typhoid Mary and him get divorced because they.
There you go. I'm ready.
Interesting. But that's all our most anticipated. So
all right. So I guess with that being said, I guess we're going to close out the show for the evening. Thanks guys for joining us. Thank you so much, JB Lee, for all your support on the channel. We greatly appreciate it. And we do appreciate all the other viewers out there for all your great and wonderful comments and being part of this show tonight. You guys make this show possible. Great hearing what you have to say. And of course, guys, before you leave, if you want, please give this video a like. It's very important. Always, if you haven't, subscribe to Comic Book Weekly and Comic Book Corner 2.0. That's where you can watch these shows. And if you're looking for notifications on Tuesday night when this show airs at 10:15, supposedly on Tuesday nights, you got to make sure that you hit that bell so you don't miss any notifications. Give it, like I said, give it a thumbs up. We want more of those. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, of course, YouTube, and probably other stuff in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But of course, guys, enjoy your new comic book day tomorrow. Hopefully you find everything that you're looking for. And until next week, this is Comic Book Weekly signing off. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.